Howdy, everyone. All right, so welcome back. And I know it's been a little while since I've put up a new video, but I've just been doing a lot of loose ends, a lot of little tedious things, not really worth filming just because there's really no added information just by connecting wires and putting on a propeller, right? Really no instruction I can give for that kind of stuff. But anywho, again, just to get everybody kind of caught up on where I am and where I'm headed, you can see that the plane is now pretty much complete. I'll be putting the wheel pants and the gear leg fairings on at some point, and the wing, I don't know what you want to call them. I guess they're the intersection type of fairings or covers that go in here. All of this kind of stuff I'll be doing for the weight and balance. That will be coming up fairly soon. The fairing for the tail will be put on. Like I said, these strips around the wing will be put on. Of course, the cowling will be put on, the spinner, gear leg fairings, wheel pans, things of that nature. So since my last video, which I don't recall what I had talked about, since then I believe I have installed the wings tips. These are the zip tip 3s. Those are on. Those will of course come back off for the inspection, but I wanted to get them connected to make sure they work, and they do. Thankfully, everything, all the buttons and knobs and stuff work, and all the lights work. I've installed the prop. That was the latest thing that I have done. The prop installation is very straightforward. This particular prop can only go on one of two ways, I believe, because of the way that the mounting studs that are part of the starter ring gear assembly. No, I'm sorry, that's completely wrong. This fits only one way onto the crank. The crank has got the lugs for the bolts. That only fits on one way. And then the propeller will mount one of two ways, 180 degrees out from one another. So putting the propeller on was no big deal. Safety wiring, let me go on the other side. Doing the safety wire, I don't know if you'll be able to see in here, the bolts from the propeller to the crankshaft. Putting safety wire on those is a real pain in the butt. These are bolts, and they have nuts. It's basically a stud with a nut on it, but the stud is drilled kind of like a castle nut. So the stud is drilled, and there's a roll pin that goes through the stud and through the nut. So it effectively makes this a bolt. And then you can feed safety wire through that roll pin to anchor these in place. The problem is access. You can see that they're inside of a well in here. And anyway, long story short, what I ended up doing was loosening the bolt so I can get the safety wire in the roll pin and start to pre-wrap the safety wire. Then I would tighten the bolt and torque it into final position, and then I can finish the safety wire. And I had to do that on a couple bolts. But anywho, propeller is now on, the bolts are on and torqued, and they are safety wired. Of course, since the propeller is on, the ring gear has to be on, and the belt for the alternator. So that is installed. This bolt has been set for the tension, and it's tight, and it's been safetied. And the bolt's up underneath, or the bolt underneath here. This is a through bolt with a nut on the back side that's torqued. This nut here has been torqued and safetied, so this is all done. The other thing that I had done, which I can't show, and I didn't film it, I can't show you now, but I did add oil. I filled up the oil, pulled the plugs, engaged the starter, spun up the engine, and got 40 psi of pressure. Stopped it, let the starter cool down a little bit, hit it again, brought it back up to 40 psi. Did that a couple times. So the starter works, which I already knew because I had run the starter after I had installed it. So the oil pressure sensor works. The reading on the ethos works. Like I said, the starter works. I have oil pressure, which is cool. The wingtip lights work, like I had said. My magnetometer works. So everything is coming together. I have not had to redo anything, thankfully. All my push buttons, lights, knobs, whatever, all my readings on the ethos all make sense and all look correct right now. I'll have to revisit that in more detail. But so anywho, now that the propeller is on, I'm going to track it, or just take a look at the tracking. And all I have is a very simple ladder with an awl taped to it. And I've got that spaced off of the tip, probably about 1/8 of an inch. And I'll just bring the next blade around, make sure it's roughly the same distance from the tip of the awl. Do the third blade. If they're in the ballpark, that's fine, because you can see even here, potentially, I can move this very easily. So if the blades are not exactly 100%, I don't really care, because there's a lot of flexibility and movement here on the blade itself. As long as they're very close visually, that's good enough. So I'm going to do that just to make sure that everything is close. And then I'm going to move on to potentially visiting my fuel flow test. And I've got some stuff to do prior to getting into that. So I'm going to get this prop tracked, check the tracking, and then I'll probably start looking into fuel flow and not really sure what else. But anywho, like I said, it's been a while. I wanted to do something so I can put up another video, keep you guys somewhat engaged and stuff. Okay, that's it for now. I'll talk to you guys later.